Welcome to another episode of Love Living Local 315. We are your hosts, Scott and Kelly Greats, and today we're joined by Michele Hummel, Executive Director of Next in Herkimer County, a nonprofit builder, community strategist, lifelong learner who is deeply committed to the strengthening the Mohawk Valley through collaboration, capacity, and investment. Michele, welcome.
Thank you so much. It's great to be here.
Yeah, so let's start right from the top, right? What inspired you to take that leap to start Next?
Sure. Well, I've had a number of roles throughout my career. I was in insurance for 20 plus years.
I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, I'm a recovering
That'll thicken your skin for sure.
But it was great, but I really wanted to do something a little closer to home and make an impact. There was a lot of throughway time involved. So I took a position at the Herkimer County Chamber of Commerce and eventually became the executive director there. So while I was there, I was really amazed by the level of projects that were happening and not moving through fruition in Herkimer County in particularly, because I was able to see things up close and personal. And, you know, there was a number of phone calls that we wouldn't be able to help people. So we'd try to refer them to the IDA or Mohawk Valley Economic Development District. And there was a pocket of people that just couldn't be helped by anybody. So it was somewhat concerning. And then Chris and Heidi Cochran came into town while Herkimer was trying to prepare for the DRI application. And a big portion of the DRI application is community support, as you know. So they were holding meetings at our chamber boardroom, and I sat in on those. And a few things came to mind immediately. One, it was amazing to see the positivity in the room because, as you know, when you're on social media, all you see are the negative comments, and oftentimes you're just confronted with the negative comments on a regular basis. So this provided an opportunity for people to look around the room and see each other. And maybe they didn't know each other, but it was helpful to see that, hey, there are others that are like-minded in this community like myself. And through that, that project came to an end, and we saw a need to continue it because, you know, all that great progress, what happens, you know, if a project stops, then the community is left feeling, well, gee, what was all that hard work for, and why did I bother in the first place? So a few of us got together, Chris Cochran, he's actually our board president at the moment, and Russell Clark, who is our treasurer, and he's actually a retired CFO from Presbyterian Home. He's a gem, I can tell you. We're so fortunate to have him. And also Miriam Curry, who is quite amazing herself. She's a psychologist by trade, which is interesting to have on your board. Very interesting perspective. So we got together and decided to form a nonprofit organization and move forward. I, of course, had to decide at that point, what am I going to do? You know, I can't be loyal to both the chamber and be loyal to this new organization. So I decided to take a leap of faith because I believed in it so strongly. It was almost like a calling I feel like I've been preparing for all my life. Yep. And the timing was right. The stars were aligned. And my husband, God bless him, said, "You're going to do what?" And I said, "Just trust me." And he said, "All right, I will." And you know, we took a leap of faith and started. Yeah. And so I joke that at the very beginning, it was truly myself in our family room that I set up as an office with an empty file cabinet and, hey, what are we going to do? And we went out, and I just started working from there, and it's been great. It's been the best position I've ever had, the most fulfilling and rewarding.
Yeah, I think most nonprofits start that way.
Yeah.
You got to
have a passion.
Well, and then, you know, so grassroots, dining room table, just out in the streets. Was there I'm going to let you ask yours, but was there a model for this?
There was not.
Okay.
No.
So this was like, you couldn't look in a different area and be like, well, hey, they did this here.
This was brand new.
Okay.
We saw some gaps, and we wanted to fill those gaps because there really was no one else equipped to do that. Mm-hmm. So founding a nonprofit is certainly not for the faint of heart, I can tell you. But, you know, the mission is great. You know, we were first focused solely on Herkimer County, and we still, that's where our heart lies. But we realize the entire Mohawk Valley needs us, and we are changing our charter to kind of include other areas and even nationally.
Awesome. That's amazing. Well. That was actually going to be my question is what is the mission of Next?
So essentially our mission, we're a catalyst for progress in Herkimer County and beyond, of course, but we help supply the resources to advocate for change and to finish projects in Herkimer County, bring things through from beginning to end. So essentially, we take vision and turn it into action.
Can you give us a good example of one?
Sure, absolutely. Well, I can tell you the David P. Whalen Memorial. You've probably heard a lot of that. That was one of our first projects that we got involved with. And that's a community softball field that, quite frankly, there is about 50,000 people that go onto those softball fields every year and play.
We were there all summer.
We were there all summer. So.
See, exactly. And, it's the only lit field for night games for these youngsters, these young ladies to play softball. And it needed some work, right? I mean, we understand that municipalities, they do their best. We used to say we work with under-resourced nonprofits and municipalities, but let's face it, everyone is under-resourced. So we've kind of come to realize that it's a little more broad than that. And we sought some financial help. We asked for donations. We wrote grants, and we were able to secure $141,000 for that field. And, it has its ebbs and flows. So some of the funding kind of didn't come through completely through fruition, but we were able to help put about $75,000 into it. And there's still more work to do, but the fields were level. They were completely leveled because those are things that I think people take for granted. The safety of the players over time, you've got divots and things that are out there in the field. And so they fortified that. We're doing more work there to try to get some new dugouts and things and continue that. We also helped with the adjacent basketball court. And it was, I have to tell you, when I saw that, I was truly heartbroken. When I tell you there was grass growing out of the cracks in it up to my hip, right? I mean, that's not an exaggeration at all. And the baskets themselves didn't really have backboards or broken backboards, no nets. And I thought those kids, they deserve something better than that. So we also focused on that. And through the help, Herkimer County was a supporter of that too. They provided some funding. We were able to get that to, it was sealed, relined, all brand new baskets, hoops, and now a pickleball court that's there for the first time.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And you mentioned in your answer there, grants. Grant writing is an art because there are funds out there.
There are.
And if you have an idea or you can justify or write a grant in a way to get those funds, it's amazing because it is not free money, but really it is free money if it benefits the community. So
do you have a grant writer?
You're probably her, right?
Okay.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I am she.
And also Kayla Hartman is doing some wonderful grant writing with us as well. And, I never thought in a million years I would write grants. Turns out I'm kind of good at it. I didn't know that, but it is truly an art.
It's an art.
And it's a little bit of a science too. So really getting into the nitty gritty of it, there's a nice combination there between the two. I'm glad you mentioned that.
Yeah.
And it's hard. The issue with grants, the community perception of grants is a little bit distorted just because they are unaware. So a few years ago, let's say at CVA, they put in a great big scoreboard. Well, there was grant funded. The grants are restricted. So many times you'll see community members saying, well, we've got this problem here. Why are you focusing on that? Well, that's because we found a grant for that specific project.
Yeah,
right. So communication, I think, is really essential in community building.
Let's go there. This is the part that hurts my head and the part that you're really good at and I would get myself in trouble with. But there's so many layers to this. You've got the state level. You've got the county level. Right. You mentioned the Herkimer County Chamber. You've got a million municipalities, these little tiny municipalities, right? And everyone has their own thing or idea, right? Or funds or lack of funds. You talk about collaboration.
It's my favorite word.
How do you do it?
Yeah. Collaboration truly is not about convening meetings or sharing credit. It's about ensuring everyone has shared ownership of both the problem and the solution and has a seat at the table and their voice is heard. That's true collaboration. Right from whether you're an elected official or maybe you're a private funder or a community member, a community leader, everyone has a seat at the table, and truly you're listening and you're hearing those voices in this decision-making process. I understand that sometimes a municipality can't always, say, okay, we're going to listen to our constituents, and they want to. I don't know. We can make up all kinds of different things. They want to put in a big, stadium in the middle of downtown, and it's just not feasible. So certainly there are things that you can't do, but the more transparent you are and the more you include the community in this process, the more they're understanding and the more they're willing to embrace it. So the flip side of that, when you don't have collaboration, you have fragmentation. It's just, I've seen a number of situations where you've got 4 different organizations working on the same thing and they don't know that the other one is working on it. So why not sit together at the same table and, put down our egos? Who cares about the credit? It's really about the end game.
A lot of people do.
Yeah,
if we're being honest.
Yeah, it's
right?
true.
I mean,
it's
you're
true.
talking about type A's with big thoughts and ideas, and everyone's a leader in their own. And so is that your role, to kind of be the glue, to bring them together and get them at that table?
Yeah, to facilitate things.
Yeah.
We're not in it so that I will say this, we have no hidden agenda. We'll put it that way. Absolutely not. Our agenda is, people know me, understand. What you see is what you get. I'm going to tell you straight, whether you like it or not, good, bad, or ugly. It's just kind of the way I am. Yeah. We try to get everyone in the same room and to understand, let's get together. And we also, our role is different depending on the project, right? So we're not one size fits all. What this municipality needs might not be the same as what that municipality needs, and nonprofits are the same as well. When you begin a nonprofit, it's funny because you start thinking what is needed, and then as you move forward, you realize what is truly needed, and you have to be somewhat agile in that and willing to be open-minded and navigate through. It's
like
the process.
A home construction project.
Yeah,
it's like, as soon as you take down a wall, it's like, we got 9 more different.
Well, and how do you get to the finish line? Like that's the end game. Is like, all right, this is what we want, and we all want this thing at the finish line. In order for us to get here, you may have to compromise at
Absolutely.
times,
right.
and you being the person that's in charge of that, I give you a ton of credit.
I think what's cool too, Michelle, is, you talk about we have no agenda, and you're unique in that role, because most elected officials do, right?
And that's what's nice about us is that we're not a government organization.
Right.
Not to knock government organizations, of course, but
for you on your behalf. But rightfully so, right? They represent their constituents who everyone's got different thoughts,
and they've got their own goals. Yeah. What's unique for us is we get to set our own. So. We know what we want to do. We know what we want to accomplish. And essentially, we understand that bringing back Main Street doesn't mean bringing back Main Street to where it was in the 1950s, right? It's going to look different. But our feeling is that if we can get people to start behaving the way they used to back then, perhaps the rest will follow. And that's really simplifying it to the ridiculous. But I'll take where we're located right now. We've got a beautiful office in Central Plaza in Ilion. After I got out of the family room, we rented a 450 square foot tiny little office in the backside of the WIC building in Ilion. And I was so sad when I got there because I remember it being such a bustling place years ago. Yeah, it was beautiful. And I truly saw individuals sitting on those planters. And one gentleman, this is a true story, he had a needle hanging out of his arm and he was kind of sleeping, sitting up. And that's what it was like down there. Before we even moved a stick of furniture in, our board got together and we came down and we cleaned everything. We painted over graffiti on the boxes that were there. We did all kinds of things, and we've continued to keep that up as time moves forward. And I don't know if you saw, but recently there was a Halloween event, a trunk or treat there, and it was packed. And there is a totally different environment now. I mean, even the businesses, when I went there, I knocked on everybody's door, because that's the kind of person I am, and said, hey, let's get together, clean this up. And I was met, not by all of them, but I was met by some of them with good luck with that. We're not going to bother because you can't do it. And for me, I thought, okay, challenge accepted.
We deal with that all the time, the naysayers and the people that just want to criticize or bash our area instead of doing something to improve it.
Right.
And it's very frustrating.
It
because
is.
if we all work together, we can definitely make it a better place.
Well, what's fun from guest to guest to guest is we get
that common
themes. And this has come up a few times lately around behaviors. And, Phil Bean brought it up, who works extensively with Proctor Park. And then Sarah was on Calero a couple of weeks ago. Well, we probably haven't released it yet, but we recorded a couple of weeks ago, Oneida County Tourism, and now you, the third person in Herkimer County, talking about we have to change mindsets and behaviors, right? We don't have to go back to the 50s, but we got to get to that pride.
Respect.
And
Yeah,
you know, Phil
pride
Bean's
and
quote
ownership.
was fantastic. You know, he said, you keep saying, I'm the ugly kid in school. I'm the ugly kid in school. And then you go, why doesn't anyone want to take me to the prom? It's like, well, stop telling everyone you're the ugly kid in school.
Exactly.
You know, and so, yeah, I think everyone's onto something with that.
Yeah,
when
and it's about personal accountability. It's accountability, really, that I take so seriously, because why are we waiting? Why are we doing nothing? So many people I bump into it, someone in the grocery store. Well, they need to come up with something for our kids to do. Well, who do you think they are?
Yeah.
You know, they are you and
You
me.
are they.
We're they. You know, what are you doing personally to help that? You know, I Next invested a small amount into just no littering signs, and I gotta tell you, it has worked down in that plaza. It's just a few dollars, and it doesn't cost anything. We don't need credit for it. I don't care, but it's a cleaner place. It really is.
So one of your goals is for public and private investment to work together.
Correct.
Can you share a local example of where that partnership delivered the real impact?
I can. Actually, right out of the gate, it happened for us because the village of Newport, as you know, I think everybody knows, this is the longest running project that is in the history of mankind. But the Old Newport School, we've been working to help facilitate the funding to initiate the demolition of that building. It was condemned. It's needed to come down. It's been abandoned since the 90s. And, it's one of the misconceptions is that we're government funded and we work for free. Well, that's just not the case. And we received private funding to work on that project. So because of that, we were able to help just convene meetings, and let them do the work. I'm never going to claim to be the expert in everything. I'm certainly not. That's one thing I know very well about myself. Surround yourself with good people, smarter people than you. So we got MVED together, and we got Mohawk Valley Edge, and between the two, they were able to fund the entire project, and we helped the village with their deliverables because they're under resourced. There's a mayor and a part-time person, and you can't do everything all at once. So it's been a long-running project. But I will say one of the first things I did when I came back from my vacation was check on the status, and the building is mostly down now. So it's taken about 2.5 years, but you got to be patient.
Everything is a process.
Yes,
and just
it
be
is.
patient with the process.
And you just can't give up. You've got to stick with it to the end.
So let's talk about the upcoming Mohawk Valley Nonprofit Symposium. Yes. So this is November 13th.
Yes. Yes, it is. It's coming right up.
Right next door, right?
Yeah.
At the Delta. So talk about what it is and who should be there and how people benefit.
So there's something for everybody there. This is an opportunity for nonprofits to kind of stop focusing on their daily operations just for a minute and treat themselves to some training, and some collaboration and networking, all those things. We've got an array of different projects. There's this person I know named Scott Greats who's going to be our keynote speaker.
He works cheap.
We're pretty happy about that too, by the way. But I actually brought some notes for this because I don't want to miss anybody. But we've got nonprofit financial power play with Justin Miller from Universal Bookkeeping. Yep. Return on impact to use social media for good with Francesca Orsomosa. Sorry, Francesca, I always mess up your last name. Orsomosa from FMN Consulting. We've got Mission Value Mission with Dave Casulo and Katie Drank from Denelli Partners. Beyond Mohawk Valley Gives with the Community Foundation. And this, I love this piece because I love data. I've got a thing about it. And this Mohawk Valley Gives has been such a learning opportunity for nonprofits. And the data that it provides is so significant. It can help you strategize your funding for the future, for other events, other things. So I'm really very excited about nonprofits attending that particular session. Revive and Thrive, restoring financial support beyond federal funding, because as we know, that's a slippery slope right now. So we've got OSA Philanthropy talking about that. And then there's a second funding option that's not really federal related, but it's a path to stronger donor relations. leveraging AI for nonprofits. So many people are afraid of AI. It's a godsend for grant writing. There's many things, especially if you've got a character count that you have to stay within, because I can be verbose if you haven't been able to tell. It helps. It really helps in a lot of ways. So and then of course we've got Bond, Shennick and King, who we've got a very good partnership with, and they've got 3 individuals coming, and we're going to end the day with governance, in all, update of what's going on in the landscape of things. So there's so many different things. There's something for everyone. We want your board members. We want your staff, your executive director, anybody, even a donor could attend. There's something for everybody there.
Where do they get information? Sorry.
Oh, sure. HerkimerCountyNext.org. And there's a link right there to be able to register.
Awesome. That's amazing. And so the cost is?
The cost is $100. That gives you breakfast, lunch, all of your materials, and a drink ticket for the end, because, hey, what's an event without a little happy hour at the end? If you want to stay.
That's why they put me on first.
But there's so many partners that we have for this, and we're really excited about this year. It's been around now. This will be the 3rd year we've done this. The first year was really a little more locally, just Herkimer County, just to kind of see what would happen. Last year we did it in Herkimer County at the college. So this year we thought we would move it to Delta Hotels by Marriott and kind of make it more centrally located for the entire Mohawk Valley. It's something I believe nonprofits need, because especially smaller nonprofits, there's not always time to be able to stop, breathe, and strategize, or you might know you need training in something, but how do you even begin? Who do you find that can come in and train you? How do you make it affordable? So this is an opportunity for nonprofits of all sizes to take a day off and come out and
and educate themselves.
Educate themselves, and re-energize.
Well, and kudos to you for doing it. And this is what I'm going to talk about, which is relationship marketing. And you don't know what you don't know. You don't know who you don't know. And when you get everyone together and you start creating these meaningful conversations and strengthening these relationships, that's where all the magic happens. That's how collaboration happens.
Yes,
exactly.
It is.
Say that.
And there's such power in collaboration.
Yeah. So excited about it.
I love how you said, living in the Mohawk Valley region in Herkimer County, you said you can truly make a difference here.
You can.
And we have had multiple guests say that we're small enough but big enough at the same time. Or am I botching that?
We're big enough but not too big where you can't be noticed or make a difference.
Right,
That's basically
exactly.
the theme here.
So what's one way you've seen that spirit in action recently?
Well, I can go back to Central Plaza, I guess. That's probably one way, being met with some the business neighbors saying, no, you can't do it. And then we did. That's just a small piece of it. But let's, be real here. I mean, we've got a small office, a small staff. We're out there doing it. We've got our earmuffs on when necessary because of the naysayers. And that's okay, because I honestly feel as though when people sometimes respond negatively, then you're doing something, right? You're getting people to think in a different way. So that's completely okay with me. It's just about moving forward. And, the Newport School project, they didn't think they'd ever be able to get that building down. It's been an eyesore and a danger, really, for several years. There's so many examples I could really tie it back to. The creation of the Mohawk Valley Nonprofit Symposium that happened out of collaboration and identifying a gap in the area. And at the time, I was a staff of one and said, you know what? Well, we'll get a team together. We'll see who will kind of come in and help, and let's just do it. It's just about believing you can get it done.
Going back to relationships, I can honestly say, doing business here for 16 years now, I don't think I've ever had a thought or an idea that I brought to someone locally to ask for help and support that was met with resistance.
Right.
No matter what town it was or village or, county, and just listening to your lineup, right? Justin Miller is big in the nonprofit space. Dave Casulo has become like my pseudo dad. I love him to death.
It's all of ours.
Katie, yeah.
Everyone's.
But you need people like that who, here's a guy who doesn't have to work, right? And he comes back to the area where he doesn't have to live, and he pours all of his time, energy, and resources into making this place better, like true legacy. And there's so many of those people, and there will be so many of those people in the room. And that is the power of you are they. Like when they say, what are they going to do? Well, listen, if you want to call Dave or Justin or you or me and have an idea and you want to collaborate, you can.
Yeah.
You
I'll
know, and
provide
that's
you
where
with
we're
an
not too
introduction.
big. Yeah.
Yeah.
So along those lines, what is the 2026 Nonprofit Bootcamp?
Okay, so this is going to be new. We are so pleased that we've received funding. We're going to take about six to eight nonprofits, and we're going to announce this. Well, everyone will hear it first now here, but we'll announce it at the Nonprofit Symposium. There'll be an application process, but one thing that we've discovered is that the majority of nonprofits who need us the most cannot afford us. So we went out, sought after some funding. We're actually looking for even more funding. We'll see how that goes. But we're going to take 6 to 8 nonprofits, and we're going to actually put them through a 7 or 8 month training course. Cool. And again, I am not the expert in everything, but I know some people. So we're lining up folks to once a month. I don't want to say it's like Leadership Mohawk Valley. It's not. This is geared towards nonprofit excellence in operations. So there are many leadership trainings available, but there are really none in terms of operational support. You could be a great leader, but doesn't mean you know how to operationalize it, right? So and especially with a small nonprofit, you know, there's something to be said for outsourcing certain things, but you should know how to do your own internal audit. You know, if there's only 2 people in your office, let's say, just for checks and balances, you know, each person should be able to go into your QuickBooks or whatever and know how to run a report. So this is the insurance person in me a little bit because we're going to mitigate some risk.
Yeah. Your compliance officer is smiling somewhere.
Yes. Yeah.
So if you could give one piece of advice to a board member or a small nonprofit that's stuck in the day-to-day like operations, what would it be?
It would be to stay open-minded, I guess, and don't be afraid to ask for help. You know, I think a lot of people have a lot of pride, and that's great, but put it down and just say, hey, you know, would you be willing? Are you interested?
Yeah.
Pick up the phone. The worst you're going to hear is no, and I've heard no so many times in my life. I can't tell you, and oftentimes it's followed with, okay, but I'll be back next year. So, you know, it's a process. Yeah. It's a real process. Don't give up.
It's not easy. Okay, rejection is difficult. Seriously, it's like a core fear that we have as humans, right? We shy away from things and we take the easy road because we're afraid of being rejected and getting our ego bruised. So what your passion's clear, right, Michele? And what keeps you motivated and energized, eye on the prize to keep going even through the toughest days?
I like to get things done. I don't know how else to say it. I like to be able to say this was an issue, it no longer is. I've got such a passion for our area. I mean, it's in the center of my being. I really want to see our area thrive, and I want to help facilitate that in any way I can. If it means, honestly, a good piece of what we do, it's not about us. It's about providing expertise that will allow another nonprofit, for example, to better facilitate their own mission. Then we know we've done well.
Yeah, awesome.
Looking 5 years ahead, what does success look like for Next, for the region, for the area you serve?
So as you may or may not know, we've been gifted a building, and the folks are probably, people listening are probably like, what's going on with it? I haven't seen anything, but we've been working with an architect firm, March Associates, on a number of different ideas that we could do with a building. At this point, we've sort of redirected it a little bit because it's such a large building. It is. And it's right in the middle of this gorgeous parking. Well, it's not gorgeous exactly right now, but it will be. But there's so much space on either side. So I think we're going to actually expand the building or add on. We may have 2 separate buildings there, but we are very much in the process of going through that to see what it looks like. So 5 years, we're well underway. If we're not in the building, it's really well underway. And again, these things take time, of course. You've got to stack your grants and stack your funding and private investment and all the things. So we're doing all those things behind the scenes that might not be visible to the community at large, but it is moving forward. So success to us looks like that building is moving, and also it's an asset to the community, not just Next.
Yeah, which is awesome. All right, so you mentioned a bunch of things there, one of them being like private funding. How can the average person get involved to help your mission?
give us a call, reach out. My email address is Michele, Michelle with one L. I know my mom, she just made things complicated. No, I'm just kidding. But so Michelle at herkimernext.org. Please, or give us a call, and 315-864-0009. We love to meet with you. There's no there's no clear cut answer. We're not cookie cutter. It depends on the individual, depends on the organization that we're working with, and we very much customize to what they need and what their values are and their goals are. So yeah, please reach out and visit our website, which is going to be under construction very soon, but it's herkimercountynext.org.
Awesome. And we'll make sure John gets all that done.
Mm-hmm.
We'll
if you had
wake
one
him up.
message you hope every listener walks away with today, what would it be?
Keep going. Just keep moving forward. Don't listen to the naysayers. You know, if people are complaining, you're probably doing something right.
That's when you know you've made it.
Mhm.
You have the
Finding
critics.
Nemo,
Yep.
best movie line ever. Just
Yeah.
Just keep swimming.
Keep swimming. Yeah.
We end all these with rapid fire questions. These are
Oh.
a little bit, they're designed to be a little bit loose,
That's
fun.
okay.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see how we did.
Okay.
I take a lot of heat for these, Michelle.
Oh, that's all right.
Yeah. Talk about naysayers. I got a couple right in the room. My own team. My own
Sometimes
team.
in his brain, something that seems simple is not so simple. But you could go ahead. You can
you want me to
start. Yeah.
All right. A book you'd recommend for nonprofit leaders.
Wow. Bowling Alone.
I've never heard of that one.
Good. It's old. It's an older book, but it's about volunteerism in the
Okay.
community. Good to Great was always that's that
Yeah,
foundational
Jim
book for
Collins.
me back when I was younger. One of the ones I used to go to. Gosh, there's so many. I read a lot of community development
You're
books.
good.
Yeah.
I asked for one. You gave me two.
Oh, okay.
Overachiever.
Morning person or night owl?
Morning. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I'm in my pajamas early. I'm asleep by 9:30.
I think we all are
no
right now. With
Especially this time of
oh
year.
my
Yeah,
gosh.
yeah.
It was
definitely
6
morning.
o'clock last night. I thought it was
Oh,
10.
Yeah.
We were struggling to make it to like 8 last night.
If you weren't doing this work, what might you be doing?
I might still be at the chamber, to be honest with
Okay.
you. Yeah.
One word that describes the Mohawk Valley region.
Possibilities.
Here's a weird one. Person, living or historical, that you'd like to have lunch with.
Julia Child.
Oh,
Yeah,
love
that's
it.
the other
Yeah.
one coming.
Something people would be surprised to learn about you.
I really don't know. I feel like I tell everybody everything. Something people probably don't know, to be quite honest, is that I truly worked my way up from Excelis when I was at Blue. At the time, it was only Blue Cross Blue Shield. I literally started as a clerk, opening mail, and worked my way up to sales management. Then I was VP of sales and marketing for their subsidiaries and helped with a merger between two of them. And so, yeah. Excelis actually helped pay for my
Started from the
education.
mailroom.
So
All right, last one. Go-to motto. We might have already answered this, or mantra for tough days.
just keep swimming.
Yeah.
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 Like
We'll go
that.
back to that. All right, Michele Hummel, Executive
Thank you
Director
so
of
much.
Next, Herkimer County. And appreciate your time and excited for all the work that you're doing here locally.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.